What's up guys, this is Sean and welcome to another episode of the iherng podcast, and today this episode is brought to you by Bottom Slap, which is the pants that I'm wearing to all property reviews lately, also now. If you want to try one, discount code and link down below. And today we will answer a question from email. This is from Jun Kyung. Hi Sean Tan, thank you for your effort in creating value to your audience. I am one of them. For easier reading, I will separate to 3 parts, which are my profile, property that I choose, and future career pathway. How considerate. Self-intro, my name is Jun Kyung, 26 years old. I graduated in degree of international business. I have 1.5 years of working experience in real estate in the marketing department. Then I immediately switched my job to become a salesperson directly from developer after knowing that it can earn them a lot of money compared to basic pay, haha. Thus, my pay right now is basic plus com, which is 3,002 plus inconsistent commission. In an average month, my pay is around 6,000 and above. So far, I have no commitments at all except for credit cards, which I pay on time just to build my profile, saving 100,000. Currently, I stay with my parents. The property that I choose recently, I have booked a unit in Jalan Tun Razak just for investment purpose. 2 bed, 2 bath with no balcony and no view. The net price is 460,000. Monthly installment is around 1,008 with 2.85 interest rates. I have one main concern about the blocking view issue, which is that my unit exactly is blocked by the next tower, and my unit view is facing inward, which is facing the staircase, and lack of natural daylight. My questions are, is it worth it that I proceed to buy a unit with blocked view but come with a cheaper price, roughly around 20,000 if compared to the same floor that has KLCC facing? Number 2, is there any uncertainty in future for the resale value due to block view? Number 3, is there any restrictions of the options that I am doing long-term rent or Airbnb if I choose the block view? 4, is this project good for investment and ROI? Then the future career pathway section. As I mentioned earlier, I have experience in the front line as a salesperson and back end as a marketing executive in real estate. So, my question is, although being a salesperson can earn a lot of money in the short period of time compared to a basic pay job, however, the opportunity of getting promoted and the prospects of being a salesperson, it's not good as marketing executive. Therefore, number 1, do you have any advice for my current job? 2, do you have any recommendations for a skill set that I can learn for being more competitive? 3, is there any specific age that I need to switch to another job instead of being a salesperson? Thank you very much and appreciate for reviewing my question. And thank you very much Jun Kyung for the email. I really appreciate it, especially all the context. And I think it's pretty straightforward, and let's address them one by one. So the first thing that stands out to me is marketing executive, which is an office 9 to 5 job. Say lah 9 to 5 job, actually where got 9 to 5 job one lah. It's always working OT without getting OT paid, versus a salesperson. So salesperson at the early stage of your career will tend to have higher salary compared to a marketing one. But now you also highlighted in the future the potential of both might be different. So for those who don't understand, or for young people who are considering developments or real estate as your career pathways, right? There are generally three forms of sales and marketing roles. One will be marketing. Technically is the person that prepares the product for sale. For example, the brief during coordination and design stage with all the consultants. The marketing department generally it's the one telling them what the market wants, supposedly. But most of the time it's always what the boss wants. Then they will ask the marketing execs to run the research to prove his point correctly. Then the next portion will be the sales. And sales, there are 2 ways of doing sales. One is directly with the developer, just like this audience, where you have a basic salary, then whatever products that you sell, you will be given a portion of the commission. And this amount of commission is generally lower than those from the real estate agencies. But those agents at the open market then will not have any basic salaries, but they get to sell everything in the market as long as their boss, which is the principal, has an agreement with some developer, maybe developer A, B, C, D, E, right? And generally this agent gets to sell all of them, even the sub-sale. In comparison to the one in the developer, you can only sell whatever the developer is launching. So there are several developers where they are a little bit more aggressive, then you'll always have things to sell. But for developers who are a little bit smaller, those boutique type, 3 years launch one project, then for that 3 years, right? Yes, maybe your earnings is way higher than the marketing stuff, but there's a cap to it, where the stocks is limited. And it's a different ball game altogether when developers choose to have their own sales team versus engaging third-party agencies to sell their product. The main challenge for keeping an internal sales team is they need to have a fixed pipeline of projects ongoing. So the developer is here for the long run, therefore public listed ones usually will have an internal sales team. Then part of the problem is generally this sales team don't need to do anything, because once the project is launched by a reputable developer, as long as the pricing is right, there's nothing much to push. Then they will perceive the salesperson to only play the role of an administrator. Suddenly like, oh, this person wants to book, okay lah, I introduce you, then suddenly I need to pay you commission. For what? And that is always a debate within the development office, right? Why do I need to pay internal sales staff so much when they do nothing? The product is supposed to sell itself until it doesn't. No? So during good sales, the team will think that they are overpaying the sales staff. Then during bad sales, they will think that the sales staff is doing nothing, waste of money, giving them basics. And because of all these school of thoughts, then you will have a bunch of developers who has no internal sales team. They will have an internal marketing team, internal customer accounting, internal administration team, but no salesperson. They will just engage third-party agencies to run the sales. And then there will be this arrangement of exclusive agents or open for all. It means some projects are exclusively under one or two main agencies, so the communication can be more in control. But if the developer is really desperate, right, they just open for all. Anybody, as long as you bring customer can close, I give you commission. So the good side for this arrangement is the commissions are on results basis. So as long as you can close, I don't mind giving you commission. And this arrangement somewhat is perceived more effective. But what a lot of people don't see is the damage towards the reputation of the brand of the developer. Because let's face it, right, a lot of people sell property mainly for the commission. That's why they put in their heart and soul and effort to work really hard to close the deal just for the commission. And sometimes there will be bad apples here and there, making empty promises just to close the deal, but ending up 3 to 4 years later when they pass over the keys, right, the agent is no longer around. Then suddenly this developer will need to bear whatever that was communicated earlier. Then suddenly, hey, I don't know, I didn't promise fully furnished one, but this agent say fully furnished, they say one. And these scenarios are pretty common in the market. Then coming back to the audience, I like your saving patterns. You have 100,000 in cash. I hope you do something with it. It's admirable that you have such an amount, but think about what to do with it just to hedge against inflation. That's why you are also considering a property lah. And one very good tip for all the youngsters is to have a credit card early in your career and pay on time every single month. That will help contributing to your credit score whenever you want to take loan. A lot of people will think that, oh, I'm an empty sheet, so it's very easy to take loan. Not necessarily all the time. But also do bear in mind that it's very important to have the discipline to control the spending when you have the credit card. But with you, Chung Kyung, I don't think it's a problem lah. 100,000, no joke, man. And since we are in this topic also, we will straight away dive into the career pathway as well, which is the concern of your future. Like many may think that as a salesperson, right, I don't have a lot of say because somewhat I'm just the administrator. So there will be this concern that sales staff don't know nothing. So marketing kind of have a bigger say when it comes to product, when it comes to product feedback and etc. But lately, I'm also very glad to see this. A lot of my friends developed from a salesperson to today a senior marketing manager in a public listed company. And recently, I've just visited his project, so that's really cool. From a salesperson, I noticed the difference between him and the rest of the team. A lot of salesperson, as we mentioned, are there for the commission. That's the main motivation of everybody being a salesperson. But on top of the free time, what I would suggest you to do is to really research and figure out why people are buying and news around the industry and market. Because let's face it, you are in the office, right? You will be spoon-fed information. I'll give you this information kit or product fact sheet. I will read through and I can sell, and that's about it. And it's very unfortunate also, whenever I register a lot of projects on social media, right, they will just send, hi, I'm calling regarding this project that you registered, so I will just send over the fact sheet, yeah, if you're interested, you just call me lah. Then they'll just give me whatever their marketing give me, and they just try by quantity. And this is a very common practice in the market, therefore there's no need for professionalism. What people usually want is the price per square feet, unit size, number of room, got facilities or not. that's about it. No one really care about number of lift against the unit, floor efficiency, the location of refills, and etc. Then a lot of people in the development office have no clue about how investors think as well. Because most of the time in most of the development office, right, all decisions are still made by the main boss himself. It's still rather old school, but I see the changes are starting to adapt where the younger leaders are on the way. But generally the market is still pretty stagnant in terms of innovation because the main people that are buying are still the same. So my advice to you will be to educate yourself in terms of the development process. For example, when they get a piece of land, who do they engage? What kind of application does the project team need to submit? Then when does the marketing team comes in? And what is plot ratio? How do they calculate it? What is setback? What is fire access? What's the difference between basement and lower ground? Then what is car park requirements? Then what's the standard waiting time for residents? Floor plate efficiency, Boomi allocation, how do you apply and what form to submit for Boomi lot release, how do residents file against COB, what are the main documents required for APDL, and etc. So the list can go on and on and on. How do you calculate premiums, which unit layout makes the most profit, and how do you then balance the requirements, what is the USP for each and every product. These are the things that you can educate yourself, or you can just get somebody from the marketing team when you guys hang out, right? Ask this kind of thing. And that was the main difference for my friend, and now from a salesperson, senior salesperson, marketing manager, senior marketing manager, and now he has that competitive edge because he used to do sales, so he is able to communicate the main selling points for the product that he is representing. And to your question, is there an age for you to transfer? It depends though, because if you're in a development company that has a very healthy pipeline of products coming up, then I think it's good to stay. But whenever one of the product gets stuck, then it will diminish their confidence in the next product launch. Then the inventory of stocks for you will be limited, indirectly limiting your income as well. So you will be assigned to keep pushing old stocks that cannot be sold. Then every month you will just need to go to the room and kena scolding because for not closing anything while you have no clue on reaching out. And that's one of the main key as well between a salesperson working in a development office versus a free open market agent is the source of leads. So do you have a dedicated marketing team that is supposedly responsible to generate leads for the salesperson, right? So they will run the ads on newspaper, billboards, social media, and generally you guys are in charge on receiving the leads and communicating the product info and etc. But the other side, free market agents are required to learn how to generate their own leads instead. That's why you see a lot of property videos around YouTube of agents trying to push their own product, but you cannot do that as a salesperson in a development office. And if your main concern is the basic salary and the stability of the income, right, that's not the right way to think about your career. As a salesperson, if you continue to stay in the development office, you can either head on to the head of sales where the income is also very handsome, but the skill sets required, not only you will need to communicate and coordinate between the marketing and your margais, you will need to have the leadership to lead a team. So let's say now, how do you keep your sales staff motivated? How do you implement discipline or the code of conduct for them to be very punctual and professional all the time? And many sales managers at developer offices will branch out to agencies because they have all the right connections where all your friends are from the development office. You will know how products are developed and what are the limitations to those products. The difference then, you will need to recruit and train new people to be under your team. And for those team leaders or agency leaders, right, their incomes are really handsome. So it's a very different skill sets altogether between marketing and sales. Both are professional, just that one focuses a lot on the object itself, which is the property or the product itself. Then how do you create a product in accordance to the market need, market demand, etc. The other one is you inherit the ready-made product, and how do you then push the product out into the market and convince people to buy. So these are some questions that you need to ask yourself. Are you more into product development and how does it respond to the market, or you're really passionate about people, leadership, and how to convince and train new people to come up and sell products? Which one would you like? Then next, going into the property in Jalan Tun Razak, right? As for those who thinks that property is always 800,000 and above in KL city centre, not necessarily true. So here there's a clear example of 460,000 for a 670 square feet one. And the main challenge for this product is for 20,000 less. This unit has no view at all because the architecture is designed in a way where this unit directly faces the side profile of the other block. Well, that's why it's cheaper, and this is a decision to be made by marketing. Like, how do I convince people to buy this unit compared to the one having KLCC view? So for those who are a little bit more cost sensitive, then this would be the ideal option. Then for those who wants KLCC view, they will need to pay the premium. Then when you ask me, is it worth it to buy the blocked view one for 20,000 less, I will reverse calculate the returns. So let's say 20,000 is around 100 every month in terms of extra installments. But just think about it, extra 100 a month, I get KLCC unblocked views. I would go for that one if I can afford, because it just gives me better potential in terms of the exit strategy, which is to rent out later or to sell out later. Imagine if a person comes in, right, especially for Airbnb purposes, views are very important. Let's say I want to stay close to TRX, then when there's fireworks, right, I get to able to see when I'm facing the block, right, what for. But if your target audience is for blue collars or white collars around the city center and they rent room by room, then it doesn't really matter because they rather have 80 ringgit in savings for their room rent. That's way more important than a view. So then you will need to decide what's the main rental strategy for your unit. Is it to rent out whole unit, or room by room, or by short-term stay, or whatsoever? Then you reverse engineer and to calculate whether 20,000 is worth it or not. My gut feel, I think 20,000 is okay for a KLCC view. Well, at least when you open up the windows, there are things to see rather than a fire escape on the next block, right? Then whether or not is it a good investment, again, do more research on the rental return. So now we have the different modes of renting, semi-furnished or fully furnished. Then you need to think about renting it out the whole unit together, or you want to rent out room by room, you want to add on another extra room, or you want to go it long term or short term. And you need to match all this in accordance to the target audience surrounding. So what you can do is to go property portals such as Property Guru or iProperty, right, to look for the long-term rental rates of the projects around this current project that you're looking at. Then you go to Airbnb website and to look at room rates of well-decorated units. Then you can go into iBelate to look into room rental rates. And then you do all this simulation, you do all this possibility, then the answer will be pretty certain. So you have a strategy of A, B, C, D. Plan A, what, plan B, what to do, plan C, what to do, plan D, what to do. So you have multiple rental options, so you won't be so kanchiong whenever you buy and you get the keys, right? What do I do? What do I do? A lot of people unfortunately think about this strategy only when they get the keys, which is a little bit too late, because the furnishing strategy for the unit will be very, very different. And let me explain this a little bit further, right? For example, if I were to run room rental options in a unit in Mont Kiara, it wouldn't work because most of the time it will be expat families and professionals that will be renting that location. So studio units and large units do really well in that area itself. So it's an expat coming in alone or an expat coming in with a family, so they have allocations of budget for their lodging and it's very high. That's why they can afford. The furnishing then will become a little bit more expensive from the owner's point of view. They will demand for very high specs, they will demand for countertop well done up kitchen because they are there to live for a very long time. They will need to cook for their kids. Then you bring this into a student accommodation where you are supposed to rent out room by room, right? Usually no one really cares about the kitchen. It's just a functional pantry with microwave and running water. That's about it. It's more of what is inside the unit itself: a bed, a wardrobe, a dressing table, a study table, aircon, water heaters, more of those functional things instead of well decorated items. Then imagine if I were to spend a lot of money and furnish a very nice unit in a student accommodation area. It wouldn't make sense. It's like a waste of money. Then if you want to run an Airbnb unit in the residential area, because people tend to rent for long terms in this area as they want to stay there, more peaceful, want to raise a family. And if you want to target families in KLCC area, that most likely won't work as well. So it's very important to establish this rental strategy. Then you only will be very clear whether to fully furnish the unit or not, or partial furnish, because this will be the game plan. And I think that's all for this episode. So in conclusion, I would suggest you to furnish yourself with all the knowledge and information about developments. then slowly across time you will need to somewhat have self-awareness about whether are you more passionate about leading a group of people in convincing people to buy a product, or to feed back to a product development team and co-create a product and pushing it into the market. Think about the passion first, only think about the salary, because if you're really good at what you're doing, right, there will always be demand for your services. It also means good pay. Then for the property itself, whether do you think it's worth it or not, you need to do all the research across different platforms like iProperty, Property Guru, iBelay, because all those information will help establish the game plan for your unit. And I think this applies to all property investors. It's best that a product will have multiple rental options, so you know in 2 months time if this plan doesn't work, what will be the next plan, what will be the next plan. So when we make purchases, if you see a product that is really very nice in a residential area, the purpose for rental is only long term, then it can be kind of risky. So if you buy a property right next to a university, it's very clear that it's for student accommodation only, then it's only singular. So it's best to find projects with more possibility of usage, then that will be safer, because you just have more rental strategies and more people to target to. So at least I can do something to my unit to cater to a different market segment. And with that, I think that's all. Thank you very much for the email. And for those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at TANIHERNG, or you can just DM me on Instagram, iherng. And that's all for today. I will see you guys on the next one. Ciao.